everyone. We analyzed several conservative and liberal linkage institutions and their position on gun control and gun violence.
A linkage institution is something that connects the people to the government.
Yeah, so me and Micah analyzed political candidates. Micah, do you want to tell us or tell them who or what political candidates are?
Political candidates are something that the people vote on to represent them.
Yeah, so candidates are also, they're part of political parties. So, like, for example, Democrats, Republicans, and they basically, their main goal is to get elected to office, which they basically state, like, their stance and position on certain issues in their specific state or in the U.S., and people that vote for them agree with that. So once they get elected, they carry out their reforms and, like, different policies that they want. So this political candidates are what me and Micah chose to analyze, in which we are going to do. Hi, it's Pogisa, and I chose to analyze a Fox News interview with Governor Mike Pence of Indiana and his point of view and statements over gun control and gun violence. This source is clearly conservative. Governor Pence is against gun control, where he states that he has always supported the right to keep and bear arms, which is mainly a conservative ideal where they have more traditional political beliefs and values. The interview with Mike Pence claims that allowing people to have guns keeps people safe. While this might be true in some cases, Governor Pence does not provide the following evidence. Roughly 16,272 murders were committed in the United States during the year of 2008. Of these, about 10,886, or 67%, were committed with firearms. Let me repeat that. 10,886 out of 16,272 murders. Also, another example is school shootings, like the most recent at Sandy Hook Elementary, located in Newtown, Connecticut, where 20 children and 6 adults were shot to death. Since then, gun violence has heightened, where in CNN, they determined that 15 recent incidents since Sandy Hook were situations similar to the violence in Newtown, where a minor or adult they were actively shooting inside or near a school. That works out to be about one such shooting every 5 weeks, a startling figure in its own right. This weakens Pence's argument because he states in the interview, "I truly believe that firearms in the hands of law-abiding citizens makes our families and our communities more safe, not less safe." And the bill that we just signed here in Indiana really was a common sense reform. However, he does not specifically state how allowing guns on school grounds is a common sense change and makes it seem that everyone in the state of Indiana is against gun control. Plus, he does not address counterclaims in the U.S. today, such as gun violence and high crime rates, including gun violence. However, he does not use logical fallacies, or logical fallacies are not found in this interview or source. So I would also like to touch on literary techniques Pence uses, such as pathos. Pence's usage of pathos to appeal to families is both strong and weak to his claim. By Pence saying, "We actually have parents that had a permit to conceal and carry a weapon that were finding themselves guilty of a felony just by dropping their kids off to school," this in its own stance evokes pity or sadness upon the audience, making people feel like they are those parents and putting them in those situations, making them feel like, oh, I should feel guilty too, because if I'm in the state of Indiana and I have guns, like, I shouldn't feel like a felony for just dropping my kids off to school. And this how ultimately evokes pittiness and sadness. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to hand it off to Micah. Goodbye.
I had the opportunity to analyze Senator Joe Manchin and analyze his point of view and arguments over gun control. The political ideology of Joe Manchin is moderate because though he identifies as a Democrat, he's running in West Virginia, which is a very conservative state, and he has many conservative views on gun control. Why I believe he's moderate is because he helped create and support a bill that supports background checks when buying a gun. This is both a mix of conservative and liberal ideologies because he is arguing that there needs to be more background checks when buying a gun. But this contradicts many conservatives because they believe that this goes against the Second Amendment rights. However, he also supports gun ownership, which goes against liberal ideologies. In an interview on Fox News, Manchin talks about wanting to revive a bill that will expand background checks on gun ownership. He claims that the bill will enforce more background checks and improve safety and prevent people from buying guns from private dealers without having background checks. He claims that this will increase security and safety because it will not infringe on anyone's Second Amendment rights. Manchin exhibits bias because he does not give viewers all accurate information and uses very one-sided arguments. Manchin uses a non sequitur fallacy when talking about why the bill was not passed the first time around. He states that there was a lot of confusion. However, this is a very unreasonable inference to make because there's not much evidence to support it and why there was so much confusion. He states that the bill will appear more popular in spite of its rejection. However, looking at the statistics, I found that the reason the bill was not passed was Senate was 54 in favor and 46 were against it, and this does not meet all the requirements to move ahead. Democrats that were pro-gun, and Republican senators all voted against the bill, which tells us that there wasn't much confusion. It was just that it goes against many of their beliefs. Manchin also uses an ad hominem to Q, which means that the statement he made is inconsistent with somebody else's claim. Manchin states that he and Senator Pat Toomey, who also originally created the bill, both stand behind this. He is contradicting Pat Toomey's beliefs, however, because Pat Toomey recently stated it was time to move on, when Manchin recently just said he's totally committed to the bill. So he is still, he's kind of contradicting Toomey's beliefs. To make Manchin's argument stronger, he should have used more statistics that provided stronger arguments. Without these statistics, there's not much to go on, not much to believe. It's just very opinionated and it's not very accurate. However, his use of personal experience makes it more relatable, makes him more relatable, and makes his bill more relatable. He talks about the gun culture in West Virginia. He talks about the people he hunts with, and how when all of them saw it, they all believe that it protects their Second Amendment rights. So people are more likely to support this bill. That's all.
Hi, my name is Josie.
Hi, my name is Jonathan.
And today we had the great opportunity to analyze several conservative and liberal institutions. Hi, my name is Josie. And I had the opportunity to analyze a really good video about the NRA, an interest group. So, I analyzed this video about the NRA, and the video was about the right to own guns and gun control. The political ideology of this interest group is conservative, as they strive in the video to protect the Second Amendment, and in every way possible. In addition, their source shows a lot of pro-American bias, showing that they are trying to conserve their ways in that sense. They try to convince people that the government has no control over them, has no control over us, we control them. By telling the people that the government cannot limit us, it's almost for a cry for help, this cry for action. In this video, they use a lot of nationalistic tools like American flags, American people living their everyday lives, Americans shooting guns, obviously. And this use of this nationalistic tool works good as a persuasion, because people want to see their lives portrayed as a happy, calm, them doing the things they do every day without any type of any type of negative aspect coming from the government. And by doing this, the NRA is trying to push across that we have to protect the Second Amendment, because without the Second Amendment, we don't have any of these calm, happy lifestyles. Even though it's wrong, it's not true. that's what makes this video more appealing to a reviewer, because it's showing a nationalistic point of view. And even to viewers who don't own guns themselves, after watching the video, they want to own guns because people are so happy that the people that own guns are already happy and they're living a good life. They use, in this type of source, they use a lot of pathos, a lot of persuasion tools to persuade the audience that the Second Amendment is good and makes us free. And it tells us a lot about why owning guns is helpful. But it doesn't tell us the other side of the story. In general, it doesn't use any statistics at all. It has no quoted research and only uses phrases from Bill Clinton or Obama, but immediately points out a good counter argument for it. Not having any statistics or expert makes the source weaker and less reliable because it's mostly trying to persuade rather than to convince. And convincing is good. You need statistics to convince. This source is built so it blinds people from the negative aspects of the Second Amendment and gun control, and what has occurred so far because of gun ownership, like shootings and mass massacres and people dying and kids dying, and it just blinds people from that. It should look at the positives instead of the negatives. That's what makes the source so biased. This linkage institution goes against my point of view because I believe that Second Amendment should be limited and controlled because of everything that has occurred so far. And I believe that this linkage institution is causing more harm because it's not really giving people the real view of what's occurring in the sense of gun control. It's letting them think that all Americans, no matter their mental state, which has caused a lot of the shootings, no matter their mental state, should be allowed to have a gun. And I don't think that's a good thing because the NRA should be focused more on gun safety rather than persuading people to go out, buy guns, and tell the government that it's not okay to stop gun control, because I think gun control would help us out a lot in the time we're living right now. Thank you, that is all.